Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today has really emerged as one of the leaders in modern progressive rock. Along with his band The Other Side, he's going to release a new record called Time Frames on November 7th. Please welcome Jonas Lindberg. Welcome, Jonas.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So, in 2022, you, along with your band The Other Side, released a record called Miles from Nowhere. It was incredibly well received, both critically and commercially, but it's been 3 years since then. What led to the delay, and were you worried about losing any momentum that you built up?
Uh, well, the delay probably came from like in this period I became a dad for the first time. So, a lot of energy and time goes to that.
That's for sure.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, and then another part of it is that I am the only like I'm doing everything. Like everything from the writing the songs to recording demos to recording all of the instruments, mixing, editing, not mastering. I'm hiring a mastering engineer, fortunately. But uh, everything else, and that really it takes a lot of time, especially because I am not working full time with this, so I have a regular job half time as a guitar and bass teacher, and I also freelance as a musician. So sometimes that can lead to, like there might be several weeks before I can do a session.
In the past, you've done fully collaborative records with other people, and you've done stuff where you've pretty much have done it all on your own, as you just mentioned. In time frames, it's sort of a combination of that. First of all, who works with you in the other side? And how did you decide which parts you would handle on your own and which parts you would bring members of the band in for?
Well, uh, who works with me? These are people that and friends that I've known for a long time. Most of the guys I studied with when I studied music in northern Sweden in Piteå, and we've been hanging out ever since. And when I moved down to Stockholm, I got to know all of these other guys like Jonathan. I knew a bit from before because he also studied up there, but I got to know him once I moved down here, and Kalle as well, the other guitar player. So so yeah, it's they're all friends, and people that I enjoy working with and hanging out with, and and they all are all incredible musicians as well. So who wouldn't want to work with them? And what was the other question?
Well, and
Sorry.
how did you, when you're putting the record together, how do you decide which parts you're going to handle
Mm.
versus which parts you're going to bring these other band members in for?
Yeah, obviously I'm Jonathan is recording all the drums because I am a terrible drummer. So he does that first, and then this time I sort of decided because I play bass and I play guitar and I play keyboards and sing and all of that. So I recorded everything that I thought sounded good with me playing it, on top of his drums, and then I sort of gave the other musicians, like the guitarist, I gave them all the guitar solos because they're much better at that. And I also asked them, like, is there anything that you want to play, like any riff that you want to play that we can replace, with you or overdub, or do you have any ideas for something that isn't here that you think should be here, and then we can try it out, and that's always really cool because that gives another level of
Yeah.
the performance because they can come up with stuff that you would never have thought of. And for choosing vocalists, I sing all the demos, so So obviously when it's quite obvious what is going to be the female vocal because that sounds really weird with me. And then I choose the one that I think I sound good, singing. And then Jonas gets all of the other stuff because he's always the main singer.
The record, it begins and ends with these long epic tracks. The end of the
Yeah,
road kicks it off, and then it just goes on this wonderful journey through a lot of different sounds. As you mentioned, a couple different vocalists to give it texture and depth, and then it comes to a conclusion with the wind, which I think kind of really ties all of it together. When you're creating an album, do you sort of picture the journey of listening to it in your mind, how each song flows and the best way to sequence it?
yeah. I'm not always thinking of it. Like when I write music, I just write music.
Mm.
Um, so I didn't really think that I need an epic here to conclude the album or anything like that. I just wrote something and it ended up being 17 minutes, and then I had two long songs, or every all of the songs are long, but
Yeah.
um, two epics. And I, to me, that's always nice if they kind of start and finish the album.
Mm.
And then it was only a matter of which one is gonna go where.
Yeah.
So I tried it both ways, I tried to switch things around
Mm.
and to see which song order gave the most compelling journey.
Mm. And I really like to, as you mentioned, you use the three different vocalists, counting yourself. Uh, Jenny Storm, I think, is amazing on The Wind. Her performance on that song is just
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's actually I managed to film her while doing that,
Oh,
because I
really?
was doing this video log, and there is you can hear me asking in that episode, like, did I get that on camera? And she said, yeah. And that's the take. So she didn't do many takes on that one. It just I said to her, I want you to sing something like Marie Fredriksson from Roxette, kind of that type of style. And she was like, yeah, sure. We hit recorded, I think, three takes or something, and just chose the best one.
Yeah, she's amazing on it.
Yeah.
It You mentioned when you're writing, you're not really thinking of sort of the order of things, but do you have certain voices in mind as you're writing pieces of music? Are you thinking that, this would be perfect for a female voice, or, this isn't something I can handle, but maybe I want to bring somebody else in? Or does that come kind of later on and after the demo?
It's both. Like I have one song that wasn't, it didn't end up on the album, but I thought that this would be perfect for Jenny. I could hear her voice on that, but I'm saving that for later.
Mm.
Uh, but um, and sometimes it's like that, and sometimes I really write for, this is gonna be a female vocal,
Mm.
like for the Summer Queen from Miles from Nowhere
Yeah.
was always written for a female. And sometimes it just, you know, it comes down to I can't do this. Somebody else will have to. It sounds terrible with me.
So are you always writing, or do you wait until, like, okay, we have a project that we're doing, let me start writing for it? Or do you just always have like notebooks or your phone or something where you're always writing?
Yeah, it's my phone is always with me. It's filled with fragments of ideas and little riffs or chord changes or stuff, whatever. And it's only a matter, and it's always growing in my head too. Like if I remember something, it's like, yeah, so that's gonna go there, and it starts playing around in there. And that's also really useful to have because it might be that I'm not having too much time in the studios so that I can demo stuff.
Mm.
So whenever I do, I always have a bunch of things that I can start with, or even sometimes it's a complete song, with chorus and verse and maybe lyrics.
Mm.
And that to me, like being a dad now, very it's important for me to be effective once I go here, you
Yeah.
know. So I can't sit here and I wonder what I'm gonna do today. I need to have a clear picture of something. So
So,
the voice memo is really useful.
uh, getting into your influences a little bit, I think prog, more than any other genre, and no pun intended, has time frames. There's
Mm,
that classic, the early years, kind of into the 80s pop prog era, into the prog metal, then that Neil Morse led kind of melodic era. On time frames, I hear a little of all of that. It really brings the breadth of the genre into the songs. Is there a specific era of that music or specific artists that you listen to when you're creating?
well, I've been listening to a lot to the Flower Kings and Spock's Beard, like for many years. Um, but I don't really think that, well, now I'm gonna create an album that sounds like them, or
Right.
like it's more like I write music and then I draw from my influences all the time, so it starts to sound like and something. And like you said, if it's capturing all of those eras, uh, probably means that I've been listening to all of these at some point. Like now, lately, I've been having a really a big Steven Wilson.
Hmm.
Started to listen to all of his stuff for the first time, actually. So that's also kind of an eye opener. Oh, you can do that. That that's cool.
Well, and I think that's one of the great things about this genre is there are so many different facets to it. For instance, when you listen to Stephen Wilson or Porcupine Tree, it really doesn't sound anything like the Flower Kings or Spock's Beard or any of those bands.
Oh,
There's just so much depth, I think, that you can draw
mm,
from. And that's what I think makes time frames stand out is all of that is there.
mm,
It doesn't sound the same throughout. Every song is a little bit different, but yet it all ties together.
yeah, yeah. It's and I don't try to think much about any of that when as
Mhm.
I said, when I'm creating, because I have an idea and then I just put something there that I think fits for that particular song, and at the end of the day, I like when there's an organ and there's a mellotron, or
Mhm.
there's a lead synth
Mhm.
coming in, and so it's there everywhere, because I
Mhm.
just hear those sounds.
Now,
So,
outside of your band, is there anyone musically that you'd like to collaborate with, whether it's in a band project or even just sitting and writing?
oh yeah. Oh, that's hard to answer because there are so many,
Mhm.
I'd like to work with everybody. That's short. But I was thinking, since I'm having a Steven Wilson period now, I was thinking the other day, like, it would be really fun to go play live with Steven Wilson for some reason. I just had that thought. And also, like, would be really fun to get to, write music with someone like Neil Moore sometimes and just see what it's like, what can come out of it.
You mentioned, you'd like to play live with Stephen Wilson.
Mm.
Do you have any live dates coming up to support this record?
Not yet. I'm thinking about it. It's to do something because we haven't really played live as a
Mm.
group together for over 10 years. So it's gonna there's gonna and we have three full-length albums in that time. So there's a lot of music that we need to rehearse. So, but sort of planning on, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but sometime probably spring
Mm.
wise, uh, a kind of a release concert at least,
Yeah.
or a couple of them.
Yeah, and especially here in the US, it's always hard for prog bands in general to tour, but especially those coming from overseas. Would you guys ever consider like, the bigger festivals or the cruises where you can kind of reach a bigger audience without having that expense of touring through the country?
Yeah, well, economics are always
Yeah.
a thing, even here in Sweden, and I know a lot of bands choose to tour in Europe because it's closer
Mhm.
to everything. Uh, I haven't never tried that, you know. I've always been touring with other artists in Sweden or Scandinavia, and
Mm.
uh, yeah,
Well, hopefully we'll be able to see you on the road
yeah, I hope so
sometime
too.
soon coming up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we've been spending some time here with Jonas Lindberg. The band is Jonas Lindberg and the Other Side. Their record is called Time Frames, and it's out everywhere on November 7th. It's a great listen. Jonas, thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
yeah,
Best of
thank you,
luck with the record.
thank you,
Yeah, we'll
thanks
talk
for having
again
me.
soon.
Yeah, hope so.